Game of Thrones has made it very clear what happens when you don't burn the bodies of the dead. We see characters repeating over and over again about the importance of burning the dead.
Burn the body. You don't want this one coming back for you.
Your Grace, if my father had seen the things that I've seen, he'd also tell you to burn the dead before nightfall.
You should burn the bodies.
You should.
Which is why this scene, after Jon Snow retakes Winterfell, is a little bit confusing to me.
I'm gonna bury my brother in the crypt, next to my father.
I find it really hard to believe that Tormund, Davos, or anybody else who knows of the threat facing people living south of the Wall would not say, look, Jon, we understand that you have a tradition of burying Starks underneath Winterfell in the crypts, but hey, the Night King can resurrect people, and do you really want to be fighting a resurrected version of Rickon? I mean, yeah, sure, that might be a good dramatic point where Jon Snow has to fight Rickon, who has been raised from the dead, let alone the fact that you have the bones of Ned Stark in the crypts of Winterfell, Lyanna Stark in the crypts of Winterfell. You might see, if things remain as they are, and the Night King is able to cross the wall, because we know that despite the spells that can be put in place to keep the army of the dead from crossing certain thresholds, we know that those spells can be broken. For example, when the Night King touched Bran in the vision, that enabled the army of the dead to enter the cave where the Three-Eyed Raven and Bran and everyone else were. So it's pretty much foreshadowed that the Night King and the army of the dead will cross south of the wall, and they'll probably get to Winterfell. And when they get to Winterfell and the Night King decides to raise the dead, you're going to see a zombie Ned Stark, zombie Lyanna Stark, and Jon Snow is going to potentially have to fight off his undead mother and uncle. Sure, it potentially makes for an interesting part of the storyline. I mean, we already have the situation where it's quite possible that people who knew and loved Hodor might have to fight a reanimated Hodor as well. So, is that what the showrunners are really going to have happen? Are we really going to see a zombie Ned Stark, zombie Rickon Stark, zombie Lyanna Stark that Jon Snow has to deal with? Or will Jon Snow realize that if the Night King gets that far south of the wall and gets to Winterfell, that he's going to have to somehow burn all the bodies in the crypts, or else you'll be facing an army of undead Starks? What do you think? Leave your comments below, and please subscribe to the channel. I should be having more content coming soon. You can also go to my other channels, Rideshare Dan on YouTube, as well as Liberal Dan on YouTube.